finally some more like legitimate news from Ann Arbor here. I feel like you and I have been talking about rumors and rumors for the past month or so. And so now finally something of actual, material here for news out of Schembechler Hall. I would say that it's a little surprising on the timing of it. I don't think it was surprising of the move. But to do it just, a week or so after signing day is a little bit surprising if, I would assume that they had this in mind before signing day because they haven't played any games in over, almost 2 months now. So, yeah, surprising at the timing.
How would you characterize Don Brown, who's become kind of a walking pinata for Michigan ire out there, but now he's gone? Just characterize his rise and fall there at Michigan.
Yeah, we were talking before we hopped on the stream, and if you would have asked me midway through the 2018 season or even up to before the final game of the year against Ohio State, I would have told you Don Brown, there's an argument for him to be the number one defensive coordinator in the nation or close to it. And so for him in just 2 years, after 2019, a little bit of a down year, but still I would say he's a solid defensive coordinator. And then, through 2020, it's like, all right, time to go, Don. So the fall was definitely really quick, I would say, in terms of his tenure here at Michigan. I mean, the thing is that if you look at what he had in terms of a defense across the country, comparing to the rest of the country in 2016, he had the second ranked defense. In 2017, 6th, 2018, 8th, 2019, even in a down year, they're the 10th ranked defense in the country. And so when you drop in 2020 now down to 59th, it was a really big drop off. But I think that the reason that it was such a quick hook with just one really bad year was because of Don Brown's performance in the big games. Obviously, Michigan under Jim Harbaugh is 0-6 versus Ohio State. And so when you look at Don Brown in those games, it hasn't been totally the offense's fault in what's going on there. It's definitely on the defense where he's giving up 62 points, 50 some points, So when you're looking at everything that Don Brown has done, he's done really, really well against the Illinois and the Rutgers and the Marylands in the Big Ten. But anytime he's gotten to a big game, especially on the road, it really hasn't gone well for them. I look back to Wisconsin in 2019, down 35-0 at halftime. Penn State in 2017, you're down. I believe the final score of the game was 42-13. So it seemed like big games, Don Brown struggled to show up.
Got Justin Rowe on the line talking Michigan football. Stadium in Maine podcast. No postseason for Michigan football. Oh, my goodness. You know what? This is the first time this has struck me to try to figure out when is the last time Michigan did make a postseason game. They did all through the 2000s, 90s, 80s, 70s. Am I missing a year in which Michigan? Oh, okay. Obviously, I just bypassed the obvious Rich Rod era in there. That there was a 5-7 and a 3-9, so it was like 08, 09.
09 would have been Rich Rod's first year, and that they were 3-9 that year.
And I believe they missed the year before too in 08.
I believe so, and then I believe Brady Hoke's last year as well in 2014.
2014. Yep. Yeah, 5-7.
So
I was like, wow, this has happened forever. Okay, I missed all those guys.
Yeah,
right in there.
I think this is it's either the third or fourth time that Michigan has had a losing season in like 50 some years, though. So you are correct in the narrative there that it doesn't happen often, for sure.
And then even when they made it back to postseason play under Rich Rod, that ended badly against Mississippi State, like 52-14. So that meant his ouster at 7-6, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive coordinator replacements. Some typical names come up. Then there's also that batch of maybe more regional names that come up. Any thoughts in that direction?
Yeah, Derek Mason is the top name that has been running around the Twitter sphere in terms of what Michigan fans want. He did a not a great job at Vanderbilt in terms of the head coaching job, but their defense was still solid. And I think in his previous stops, he's been known to have a great defense. I also think just his demeanor is really something that Michigan fans are excited about. So he is a guy that's, pretty intense and serious. So he fits that. He's not a Michigan man, but he fits the Michigan man type of narrative. And so I think that's why they like him. I like Will Muschamp. He would actually be maybe my number one over Derek Mason. He did a phenomenal job, I thought, at South Carolina on the defensive side. They couldn't get it going on offense, but he's obviously had great defenses in the past. From people that I know in and around the South Carolina program, they said that he would be a phenomenal defensive coordinator there. And so both of them coming off of head coaching jobs, I think suits well for Michigan. I also would wonder, though, is it a quick stop for Will Muschamp if he comes for a D coordinator job before he lands another Power 5 head coaching job somewhere? I don't know about Derek Mason. I think that it was not a great stint for him as a head coach, so maybe he'll end up back as a D coordinator for, maybe a few years or maybe even the rest of his career. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a reasonable thought concerning Muschamp. It's one thing to see that landscape of coaches that kind of bounce back and forth as coordinators and maybe group of 5 head coaches. But when you've been the head man at Florida, then South Carolina for an extended period of time, making a lot of money, you would think that, and he's a young guy still. He's a relatively young guy, that he would still have aspirations to get his next shot at a big time school.